Welcome to Yeshiva Daf, your sponsor, Louis Nishmas. I'm Yaakov Shalom Le'Abbas Yitzchok. We're holding in Sanhedrin Daf Ayin Hey. We're starting the beginning of Amudah, the second line. The Gemara says, concluding the sugya of the idea of Gimel Arayas Chamors and the fact that Yor Val Yavar, the Gemara goes into a detail which is fascinating. To what extent do we say Gimel Arayas Chamors, the three cardinal sins? Says the Gemara, Rav Yudom Rav. This person had his mind and his eyes about a certain woman, he wanted to be with her. And he got sick from it. He got some heart disease for the fact that he couldn't be with this woman. What did the doctors? They told the doctors, what should we do? They said, the only way for him to heal is for him to sleep with this woman. Chachamim said, I'm sorry. We're not going to allow the woman to be with him because he's sick. She's not going to do it. So they said, Talmud lefon of Aruma. So you know what? Forget about sleeping with her. Just let her be in front of him naked. So the Gemara said, the Chachamim said, Yom Sval Talmud lefon of Aruma. Should I not be naked? So maybe I have another solution. Maybe I should go just flirt with him behind the fence. The Chachamim said you can't even do that. Now, some of the first were saying that you see over here how doctors are so, flip-flop. Because at the beginning, the doctor says the only way to heal him is through Be'ila. He said, you know what? Even the Be'ila naked. And talk schmoozing. Very easily they changed the healing process. So more comes to explain exactly the story. One says she was a Yeshiva. That was also. She wasn't a Yeshiva. She was a Pnuya. So I understand. Tell me Yeshiva. She says you have Surya rice, and you see from here, this is what the priest can bring in the story, that not only a rice is also a vizarayu. Vizara means anything that's associated with it. Because here we're talking about not only for him not to sleep with her, but also not to see her, not to talk to her. It's all part of a rice, and it's also us. So my kuliyain, she's a pnuya. What's the issue? She's a pnuya, they'll marry each other. So the Gemara didn't take it as a that they're going to marry. It's a mishpacha for a woman to be properly in front of a man. It's a disgrace for the family. We're not asking to do it. The reason why you don't do it is because it's a princess. We don't allow princess. So the second one is more in line of what we learned until now. It's the rice. Maybe I've used the rice. It's improper. We don't allow it. If you say like the first one, it's disgraceful for her, and I'm not asking you to disgrace yourself for him to be better. So why don't she marry you? Make it easy. Says the Gemara. Now, by the way, here this Gemara brought down on the Yerushalmi as well. The Fiyam Yerushalmi actually just learned it last week. It's a Gemara in Shabbos Yerushalmi. The Yerushalmi brings two answers regarding, there's a few answers over there, but the answer is why didn't he marry? Why didn't he marry her? So Yerushalmi says one answer is that she was a very Isha Chashuva that would never marry her. That's what it was. He was a very simple person. She was an important woman. She didn't want to marry. So Bishlam of somebody who has a chance of marrying her. So he's saying whatever you do before, it's part of the Yelich to get the marriage. But according to the Mandalmar, but if you're saying that she never marry him, so it's just Tamznos. The second answer of the Gemara Yerushalmi is that he, lack of a better term that we use today, he fell in love with her, or he was attracted to her when she was married. Then her husband died, and he wanted to be with her. They say you started with Aveiro, you don't continue. So do Malachim in the Yerushalmi. What does our Gemara say? Gemara says that we know in the end of Maseches and then the Maseches Yuma, and Maseches Soito, the Gemara says, the reason was, if you marry her, it wouldn't be good enough. Why? Since the time of Beis Hamikdash, there's no real enjoyment from Bio. Only people that do Averos. Stolen water is sweet, and hidden bread is pleasurous. In other words, it's only something that they're going to do it. The people, he wants to be with her not as a wife. He wants to be with her business. That's what is attracting him. That's his attraction. If it's going to be with marriage, he's not interested. That's what the argument says. With this we end the 8th parak of the Masechta. So the Mishnah starting the 9th parak. The following, we are going in the order of who gets the punishment of Mrs. Beis. So we spoke about Niskolim, all the list of people that get skila. And now we're going to speak about Nisrafim, the ones who get Sreifah. So it says the Mishnah, who's the ones who get Sreifah? Haba al Isho Ubiso. Someone has a relationship with a mother and her daughter. Ubas Koyin Shazinso. And a Bas Koyin who does nos, we saw that earlier, she gets Sreifah. Yesh Bichlal Isho Bito, included in a mother and daughter, you have also Bitoy Ubas Bitoy. You have also his daughter and his granddaughter. The Gemara is going to explain how do you come from a woman and her mother, or a woman and her daughter, to his daughter and his granddaughter. Uvas Benoi, his granddaughter aside from his son, aside from his daughter. Ubas Ishtoi, the daughter of his wife. Ubas Bito, Ubas Beno, and her granddaughter. Chamoisoi, his mother-in-law. Veim Chamoisoi, the mother of the mother-in-law. Veim Chomiv, and the mother of the father-in-law. That's all included in this issue. So the Gemara goes on, we'll see, the Gemara is going to explain, really the next two blot, the Gemara is going to go through the drushas to tell me how we learn these things. So it says the Gemara, it doesn't say in our Mishnah, someone who had a relationship with a mother who he married the daughter, meaning his mother-in-law. It doesn't say that. It says, these are the ones that get burned. The one who has a relationship with a woman and her daughter. So the Mashmo says the woman and the daughter, they're both asur. It says the word. So it doesn't say Isha Sabitaktani. Elabai Isha Ubito. Right? Chal Tavai Lisur. Actually, they're both Isur. Mani, who is it? Who is the Isur that we're talking about? Saying both are asur to you. The mother is asur, and her daughter is asur, and both are coming from the same place. They're both asur because of the Isur of Isha Ubito. What are we talking about? The wife is not asur. So we're talking about the mother-in-law and her mother. They're both asur. So the Gemara, then the Mishnah says, from here I learn all the other arayos. Masha, these two are written clearly. And the rest, meaning the first two, are written in the Torah. And the rest are learned from a drasha. Says, by this, we're not going to understand what the Gemara is saying right now. We're going to Be'ezer Hashem learn this in next daf, in tomorrow's daf. But just we'll take the Gemara as a given. He learns the Gemara later that the machlekes that they speak about there is Mashros Dorshim. So he explains that the Torah was speaking about a mother-in-law and the mother of the mother-in-law. Bastisimani Rabbi Akiva. The Shita of Rabbi Akiva that we'll learn later. According to Rav, they explain the machlekes in next daf differently. And according to him, there's no such mandama that learns that the Torah spoke about a mother-in-law and her mother of the mother-in-law. Bastisimani, who's the Mishnah? You're right. Meaning, we're going to learn in the next daf, machlekes, was a mother-in-law and her mother mentioned in the Torah or not? Is there such a shita? If you hold that, it's a shita, that's our Mishnah. But if there's no such shita, so what does the Mishnah mean to say? Our Mishnah is saying that there's two women that are d'oraisa, then there's the rest that we're learning from them. Who is that? So according to, says the more you're right. If you want to go, you're old, and there's no mandoma that holds. a mother and her mother-in-law is written, a mother-in-law and her mother written in the Torah, so then you have to say that the pshat is, we're talking really about Isha Bito. We're talking about a woman, a wife, and we talk about his wife and the mother, regular mother-in-law. That's mother-in-law for sure written in the Torah. That is true. Hi. So why does it say Isha Bito? So then we have to change the girsa. Tani Abol Isha Shenosa Bito. Isha who he married the daughter. Same way Isha Bito Chamoisoi Vem Chamoisoi Vem Chaviv. Included in the woman and her daughter is also the mother-in-law, the mother of the mother-in-law, and the mother of the father. Same way Abaye Haidi the Kabbalah Mitno Em Chomiv Tainam Chamoisoi. We already mentioned the mother-in-law. So why? In other words, we mentioned the mother-in-law and the mother of the mother-in-law. According to Abaye, we just mentioned a second ago. So when the Mishnah says Isha Bito, means the mother-in-law and the mother of the mother-in-law. So we already mentioned it. So why are we saying again the Mishnah, the mother and the mother-in-law? Right? It says, Yesh Bechal Isha Bito Chamoisoi Ve'em Chamoisoi. We already mentioned these two. So the more you're right, because we want to say Em Cham, you want to speak about the mother of the father-in-law, even though we already said it. And L'Rova, according to Rava, also mother-in-law is already mentioned. The mother of the mother is not mentioned. So why do we mention it again? We want to mention the others, so we mention this as well. We know it's not like what goes on to the Drush Hashanah. Torah Bonon Ish, Asher Yikach es Isho ves Imo. It says in the pasuk, someone who takes a woman and her mother, that's a mother-in-law. Right? And then it says, Zimaish Baish Yisrael, if we have to bring that's a pasuk. Inli Eli Shavimo. That's the mother, woman and her mother, meaning the mother-in-law. Bas Isho, Ubas Bno, Bas Pito, Ubas Bno, a daughter of a, so we spoke about, person marries a woman, automatically is us and the mother of the woman. That's the mother-in-law. How do you know the daughter of the woman and her granddaughters? Nemakan is Zimo, because it says in this pasuk Zimo. Zimo. Lalan speaks about, it says, the pasuk says, Erva Isho Bito Loisigali. In general, a woman and her daughter should not have Erva with both. Es Bas Bino, es Bas Bito. Loisikach. And don't have with the granddaughter. So when it says, Malalum Bito Bas Bito Bas Bino, Kan Bito Bas Bito, Bito Bas Bito Bas Bino. Same word there we're talking about. The daughter. And then pasuk later, we're talking about a daughter and granddaughter by Zorro. So also by the punishment, by Sreifo, referring to the daughter and the granddaughter as well. How do you know to do male like female? They're going to explain that in a moment. What does it mean male like female? So again, you learn from the same pasuk. You learn from a daughter to equate a male to a female. How do you know to do the bottom like the top? Like I was speaking on with base to explain what does it mean bottom and top. The same way there, the bottom is like the top. So here the same thing. Also here, same way the top is like the bottom, the top is like the bottom over there. What does it mean? So it goes on to explain the whole thing. Oh my God. How do I know that I equate the male to the female? What does it mean? You want to tell me a granddaughter from the son is equivalent to the granddaughter from the daughter? It says both in the same in the pasuk together. The pasuk says, "Bat bito is bat bno is bat bito loitika." Says it clearly. Says the Gemara, "Oh, hello, em chamiv kem chamoisoi." To tell you, not only the mother of the mother-in-law is usher, but also the mother of the father-in-law is usher. So then 1 second. We didn't get to him. Right now, this Braiso, we're just talking about the daughters and granddaughters. We didn't get to the mother-in-law. So how you go running out to speak about the grandmother? Or about the mother, the grandmother-in-law? Where are you running to? We didn't get to it. Says the more now, and I hear with base. So Abai comes to explain the verse. You just told me that her daughter and her granddaughter have the Isra and have the Sreif. How do you know that his daughter and his granddaughter have the same thing? How do you mean Schar and Kenekevis? Schar means the male himself, like his female, like his wife. So there you say the same way there it goes about the same way by him. In other words, we're equating what it says over here to the rice that says by him. So by the lav. There is just always in these parashas. You have the lav, it says don't do it, and you have the punishment, which is sreif. So when it says don't do it, the lav, it says not to do a daughter and a granddaughter. So the sreif also goes to that, and learns zima. So what do you mean? Rabbi Sher today looks zima. Zima is written by his wife, not by him. Right? How do you know it? So he says, right, Rashi, just if you want to see quickly Rashi, which pasuk we're referring to about him, the first Rashi says, his daughter and granddaughters, a woman they had a relationship with is not his wife. To also be Ishto de Kedusha Koma, there shall be a woman's Bikoi. There we learn from Bikidusha. Rabbi Ksiv Ras Basbinicho Bat Pitcho, Habasbino Bat Bito Shalo Yoldo Emeno Gilo, Vechtivi Yosha, Ivat Isha Bito Lesigala, Vash Ben Shelter Loch, Ben Shelter Lishacher. His wife, the children of his wife. Lokash Kam Boitzkan Vesuin, Imnosos Chom Votel Choi, Yatamuzal Bito, Enken Mimchoi, Vimishtacha Yatamuzal, Bachi Yoldo Lishach. The more you've understood that a wife, you're also everything. Anusa, meaning not through marriage, you're also only if it was born to you. So in any word, it says more of the pasuk that says about him doesn't say zimo. Yeah, it says over there heino because it says ervoscho heino, and it says by the wife sheheiro heino zimoi. So it says zimo by the wife, and it says zimo by the sreifo. So in zimo of sreifo to zimo of the wife. See the heino by the wife to the heino by the heino by himself and Azor by him to teach me sreifo that his daughter and granddaughter is a sreifo. Something more. Well, I didn't know the bottom's like the top. What does it mean? Want to tell me that the granddaughter is also like the daughter? They had their daddy Cassian. They came together. They're both within the pasuk together. Meaning, I want to tell you, now I'm coming to speak about the mother, the grandmother-in-law, the mother of the mother-in-law or the mother of the father. No, that's not. What's the lotion of the Brisa? How do you know the bottom like the top? I know the top, we're going to learn the bottom. According to this, we're not coming to learn the bottom, we're going to learn the top. We're going to learn one generation upward. So the more you're right. Tani lamalo kilamata. Right? Gives us a little mistake. How do I know the top like the bottom? Yeah, he says the Gemara, Neymar kan zimo, v'neymar leholon zimo. So you're learning zimo. Uma'ashto ini l'ksivo, zimo diduk sivo. We never mentioned yet a mother-in-law. Where do you find the limit of zimo? You say, wow, zimo. We didn't learn this yet. So the Gemara, the Bryce is telling you, how do I learn what I'm trying to learn? Learn zimo. But if I don't know anything about it, how do I have zimo? I don't have the word zimo written in the puzzle. How do I know the same way by a woman? You asur not, when you start asuring it in 3 generations. 3 generations means the daughter is considered to be generation number 2, the granddaughter generation number 3. So we learn the generation 2 and 3 also. It's also the same way, the other way. The mother-in-law and the grandmother-in-law will be also. How do you know that? It says zimo by both. Why? Because it says lamalo is the mother-in-law. Kikach isho v'simo zimoi. So mother-in-law is written. Grandmother is not written. I'm just talking about directions. The same way in the downward direction, meaning children. You go down to 3rd generation. So upward direction, I go up to the 3rd generation. The same way, by the punishment, we said that you go 3 generations down, like you have 3 generations up. So also once you learn that Lamalu Shlosh Ador is the Gabi the straightforward, the Gabi the punishment. So the same by the punishment we learned that you go both ways. So Sabbat Zara also you go both ways. Okay. Right. As Rashi says, we learn the Oynish, now I have to learn the Zara. So even that Chamosh, in other words, even Chamosh is not mentioned by the Azara. The Chamosh is mentioned only by the Oynish. So I know the Sreifa. So that's why I'm going 3 generations down. I'm learning that it applies also up regarding Oynish. Now what about Azara? Once I know that it's equivalent for Oynish, so you mean it's equivalent also for Azara. And we say it goes both ways in both cases. Says the Gemara, you read it like it's written right now in our brayso. Hi, so what does it mean? Lamato kilamalo. What does it mean? Lamato be iser. What it means to say is a lower, more lenient iser. If the more lenient iser is one way, so of course the more severe iser, not upwards, like we said before, generations, downward generations. Downwards in the severity of the iser, and upwards in the severity of the iser. Right? So he's saying, so what does it mean? If you look at Rashi says, the middle of the wide lines. And afkan lemato kilamalo. Umay lemato tikol, my lemato be iser. Iser akal kori lemato. V'achomur kori lemalo. The lenient iser is the lemato. The more severe iser is the lemato. And what are we saying? We're saying the following. How do I know to say the grandmother-in-law who is not more lenient, a little further away, like the mother-in-law was more chamor? That's lamata kilamalo. Mata kilamalo means lower iser or further iser, like lamalo. Marka zimo, that's what is zimo. Adds Rashi, lekashtel adikashleil hashte inu leksiv zimo leksiv. I think more before said it didn't say zimo. So how do you get to it? I now ne'mar kan zimo lava laika. It doesn't say zimo regarding the grandmother-in-law. And I have to go over the mitzvah. Ne'mar kan chamosh zimo shema lalu emitish zimo malam halu lemata beisur kilama beisur chivkos suvavidavat beigba afkan. I'm learning zimo from the daughter. Saying by the daughter, the more lenient for the Isser is equivalent to the more closer Isser. So also by the mother-in-law, the more further lenient Isser is like the more closer Isser. Something more says. Again, my lemat not to be Isser. So my he emi mo asura, afu emi mo asura. So okay, 1 second. So once I'm learning all these things from each other, so the same way I'm saying that she, the grandmother, meaning the grandmother-in-law is the grandmother of his wife. So the same way the grandmother of the wife is also, so his own grandmother should be also midaraisa. And it's not true, a grandmother is also only midaraisa, not midaraisa. It's more than special because of your mother. Only the mother, not the grandmother. Okay, so the word darshan says. Okay, now he says so we're asking now the question about the grandmother, and he comes and says the grandmother, your own grandmother, I mean a man's grandmother, it's not also the right because it says imchui. Comes Rav and says, I'll tell you why. There's no gzera shava that can teach you that the mother is us. What is it? Rav Omar. What does it mean, these things? There's 2 ways to learn Gzera Shava. One way to learn Gzera Shava is called Doin Mino Umino, which means you learn from the Gzera Shava and you learn from it in all the details. Whatever the Gzera Shava teaches you, it teaches you to all the details. So let's say you learn Misa, so you learn also the type of Misa, you learn Azara, everything from there. There's another mandam that says Ton Mina Vuki Baso. You learn the concept of Gzera Shava, but then you import it to here and you apply whatever works over here to there. You don't take all the details through the Gzera Shava. So one says like this. The mandam of Don Mino Mino, according to the mandam that says Gzera Shava Don Mino Mino. So what are you going to say? Mahi emi masuro afunami emi masuro. I want to say the same way her grandmother is also. So also his grandmother will be also. That's what you want to learn Gzera Shava. Umino, and you want to learn all the details. Mahi b'streifa afunami b'streifa. We just learned that the grandmother-in-law is like the mother-in-law, and they both get streifa. They get both the burden. So if so, l'mandor masreifa chamurei kol mifrach malihi shekeni mo b'streifa to rabushi or b'skilo. So 1 second. There's a big difference. You can't learn this limud. You have a pirchot to the Gzera Shava. Why you have a pirchot to the Gzera Shava? Because by the grandmother-in-law, the reason why it makes sense she gets straightful because the mother-in-law gets straightful. But here, that the mother herself, the person who has to be with his mother, doesn't get straightful, gets skilo. So if you hold straightful is more chamor, why should you give the grandmother a death penalty which is more severe than the mother? So if you learn Gzera Shava, so you say Don Mino Mino, you have to learn all the details of Gzera Shava. So if I'm learning for the wife, the same way the wife, the grandmother is also, and she gets straightful, let's learn to the husband, to the person himself, that his grandmother will be also get straightful. That can't be, because the mother doesn't get straightful. How can the grandmother be straightful? You can't say the Gzera Shava. Stop, forget about that it's more chav. You be skilo, emi be straightful. Why should the mother be skilo? So first of all, I have a pirchot to the Gzera Shava. You can't compare it. Here, the mother gets straightful by the wife. The mother gets straightful, so it makes sense the grandmother gets straightful. By him, the mother gets straightful, so the grandmother should get straightful. And in addition, how can it be that the grandmother will be more chav than the mother? The same by her, the mother and the grandmother have the same punishment. So by him, the mother and the grandmother should have the same punishment. Even if the old skill is more chamer, so you can say, okay, if the mother gets skill, the grandmother is a little less chamer, and gets straightful, which is less according to this mandama. So I still have the third question. We brought 3 questions. First of all, it's not comparable. Second of all, how can it be more chamer? Third, the mother and the grandmother should be the same. So the first 2 questions are not kasha according to mandama that says kilo is more chamer. But the third question is a good question. So in other words, you want to learn Gzera Shava from the wife to the person himself. Same with the wife, the grandmother is usher. Also the husband, the grandmother should be usher. We can't compare it because according to Mandoma, doing mino, she should have straightful, and it doesn't make sense. She should have straightful by his grandmother should be straightful. Says the Gemara, and according to Mandoma, it says the Gzera Shava is not exactly the same. I'm just taking the concept. So therefore, what? The concept will be her grandmother is usher, his grandmother is also usher. That's it. But not the punishment. For not to put it in his place. We'll see. By her grandmother, it's a straightful. But now they learn the concept to his grandmother. Her grandmother gets a straightful. His grandmother will get a skilo, like all the other rights. Okay? Like his mother. So the Mandama Sreifa Chamuro, according to Mandama, the whole Sreifa is more Chamun than Skilo. If I can ask, without I vote Dalef, Malihi, can you have a Sreifa? Turbo who she have a Skilo? Question number 1. By her, the mother gets Sreifa. It's very Chamer. So that's why the grandmother is also Asur. By him, the mother gets Skilo. So maybe the grandmother is not Asur. Question number 1. Question number 2. Void who he has to be comparable to her. By you look like the Bobin Bitol and Mimo. Afulo Tachloik ben Bitol and Mimo. The same by her, the daughter gets straightful, and the grandmother-in-law gets straightful. So by him, the daughter gets straightful, the grandmother should get straightful. Why should be skilo? But the problem is with the rules of Gzera Shava, should be skilo. Don't mean no vuki b'asur. But I have a problem. I can't do the Gzera Shava because by her, the daughter is equivalent to the grandmother. By him, it's not. So according to the skills of Machamos, it makes sense to tell me that the grandmother will be straightful while the mother will be skilo. But still, you want to compare equivalent you want to say the daughter and the grandmother should be the same. So what is the conclusion of all that according to Rava? Says Rava, you want to learn Gzera Shava, have a pircha to the Gzera Shava. And this is a question. Do we ask questions in Gzera Shava? Says Taisus in previous Talmud, yeah. If it's not mufne, if you don't have both tzedadim open, you can ask the question. So it says Rava, the Gzera Shava doesn't work. If you hold Domino, we have a problem. Domino, we have a problem. If I want to learn that his grandmother is also like her grandmother, it's not the same thing. So therefore, we don't have a pasuk, and we can't learn Gzera Shava to tell me that his grandmother is also. Says one more sentence. Imahu kalosu asuro afil kalosu asuro. Maybe you'll say the same way his daughter-in-law is asur. So also her daughter-in-law is asur. That's called eshes chorgre. The wife of his stepson should be asur. We know that's not asur. Midiraisa. Mabaya makor eshes bincho hi. Eshes bincho tabechai v'chai only because of the daughter. The truth is, we should not go into this because this goes into the next nekudo. So let's stop over here with the kalosoi, because that goes into the whole sugi. We'll leave it for the next daf. But the Gemara right now, just to understand the ma'alach of the Gemara, that's maybe just the good thing we just put on the question. The Gemara is saying we compared in the Gzera Shava him to her. They're comparable. Says the Gemara, if you're comparing it, the same way her grandmother is also, so his grandmother is also. Says Rabbi, you can't. Why not? The Gzera Shava has a pircha. Now the Gemara is going to say, oh, if you're comparing her to him, so same way her daughter-in-law is asur, his daughter should be asur. We're going to say a similar answer to the Gzera Shava has a pircha, and then you can't do it. Okay, we'll stop over here. Continue Beis Hashem this evening. Kol tov.
Have a good day.
You too.